Yesterday, last year, Donal shouted downstairs to his mother to come up to the room. His mother ran upstairs, wondering what is going on now. And Donal turned to her and said, "Mom, it's the 1st of May. It's the 1st of summer." He tweeted, "It's the first day of summer. They said have an early Christmas. Up yours, cancer, up yours, doctors." It's hard to believe that it's not quite a year yet since Donal passed from us and left us, just about a couple of months, 11 more days. And I remember coming down here to the school on the Monday because Des came up to the house and he just said, "Fionnbar, you've got to see the wall. You've got to see the wall down there. You've got to see what the students have done." So we slipped quietly out of the house, came down, and the one thing that struck me walking in through it was the muted silence. Just sense of shock in the whole hall, corridors. People were walking quietly, students. This was a school with 600 students, male, boys, all ages, that sort of. This shouldn't be this. But they were just quiet. News had gone up town, news had gone down, he's gone. For the last couple of months of his life, he ended up hitting a blaze of publicity for the message that he went out. The message he went out with, which really shocked people into listening. He did an interview on TV, and I think he silenced the country. He brought tears to the eyes of everybody, and my only regret is, and I do have one regret, that I didn't buy shares of Kleenex before all this started. I spoke to a man yesterday called Terence Casey. Terence Casey became one of Donal's strongest proponents. He's the Kerry coroner for South Kerry. In the year up to Donal going on Radio Kerry in March last year for the Local Hero Award, there were 28 suicide deaths in South Kerry. Since Donal went, and we're now a year and 2 months since Donal's interview on Radio Kerry, does anybody have an idea how many suicide deaths were reported in South Kerry? 4. From 28 to 4. And he lands it totally at Donal's feet because he said nothing else was a catalyst like that. That's an incredible statistic. It's 1/6. It's 24 people who've chosen to think a second time. That's what Donal did. On the night that Donal died, there were 2 things that happened on Twitter. One, Donal would have got an awful kick out of, and he'd really have asked the question. He died at 8 o'clock, and at that time he had 16,000 followers on Twitter, including Dan Carter. But by midnight, he had 22,000 followers on Twitter. And you really have to ask the question, what the 6,000 new followers were expecting him to tweet. But the other thing that happened on that night was from my rugby club sent out a tweet. And I thought this was the most incredibly ingenious thing to happen. And the tweet was, "Condolences to the family and friends of Donal Walsh. Remember guys, you have managers, coaches, teammates, friends and family. If you need to talk to somebody, just ask." I thought, that was brilliant. On the night that Donal died, somebody got his message. Somebody was able to use the media that Donal was so good at using to get a message out there. And 32,000 or 22,000 people were following him by midnight. So there was an audience of a potential 22,000 people to get that tweet. Wow. I really was pleased with that guy. I spoke to him, but I haven't met him since. But it was just the ingeniousness of using what was the trending thing on Twitter that night to continue the conversation that Donal started. That to me is what this is about. That to me is what Donal's conversation was about. Be able to reach out and be able to ask for help. Thank you.